shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together. This is big things. Doing big things. Chasing big dreams. Yeah, it's all real. This life's all that it seems. All the chicks scream. All the dudes yell. This is just what I do, and I do it well. With the flow fresher than the new shoe smell. Going through hell, but homie, keep going. You know the saying, you can reap what you sow in. So I don't chase girls. I just chase dreams. Play the same game, but we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general from the front, I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Shrimp Tank, powered by Celsius Beverage. If you're tired, just crack open a Celsius like I am doing on the show, and it will wake you up instantly to do a podcast show, of course. So every week we come to you with the brightest entrepreneurs from down here in South Florida, really find the do's and don'ts of running a business. And before we kick that off, I just want to share a little bit about what happened yesterday at the Owl Podcast Studio with South Florida Tech Hub. So we launched Tech Tuesdays over on the Owl app. And this is really important because if you're a podcast listener and you live down here in South Florida, you can connect with all these tech professionals every single Tuesday on the Owl app between 9 and 12 o'clock. And a lot of people in South Florida Tech Hub are jumping into it and doing it. The CEO herself, Nikki, is going to go live every single Tuesday in the future, and her team as well. So that's what's exciting going on the Owl app. What is going on at FAU, Kevin?
Oh, things are always exciting. A little bit slow during the summer. There's places to park, less students around, but they'll be back before we know it. I'm just getting back from South Beach myself. Nothing exciting, unfortunately, but a little bit of excitement at the FIME Expo, right? So that's the Florida International Medical Expo, where I served as a finalist round judge for a whole bunch of med tech startups. And amongst the finalists was even Tech Runway alumni Stephen Charlap with his very interesting company Soap. So I got to see a lot of very cool innovations, from new cast that can get wet if you or your kids break a bone, to artificial limbs, and the first saliva test for real-time marijuana testing. So all sorts of interesting new technologies in the medical space. That was a good time down there.
Nice. And I got to give a shout out to Daniel Wakefield. He was recently on the Shrimp Tank podcast, and I heard he had a big influencer come down from the Shrimp Tank and do some headshots. Is this true, Kevin?
Yeah, I did take care of that today. So I will be updating my profile and giving him a shout out as well. We always appreciate the compliments of our past guests.
I know it only took me 300 episodes for telling you need a new headshot to finally make that come true. So I'm really excited for you, Kevin.
Yeah.
Next, your TikTok profile will come out.
Yeah.
When we open the new studio, right? Then you'll go a little wild with TikTok. You'll let the students really help you out behind the scenes. Well, let's get into our guests today. You know, every week we get to interview such bright entrepreneurs from South Florida. And you catch all these episodes up on our website, shrimptankpodcast.com. You can check their bio out, of course, and then connect with them over on social media and really just ask for help. A lot of our entrepreneurs love getting messages. And when you ask generally, often they will jump on a call or a Zoom with you and really help you with your business. So today we have Mish Bush on the Shrimp Tank. She's the founder of ShineOff Cosmetics. So Mish, welcome to the Shrimp Tank.
Thank you for having me.
For audience listening, tell us about the brand.
So about my brand, I'm a makeup educator, and I own ShineOff. ShineOff is one word. I took this cosmetic line and I moved it with men and women. It's for men and women in the TV and media industry. It started out there.
Kevin, you hear this? There's a lot of hope for us.
Yeah.
Cosmetics for men. We're on film all the time, and she could help us out, Kevin.
Yeah. So tell us about the product line.
So I created one specific product just for men that I love, and I'm just passionate about. I want to talk about.
Okay.
So it's a clear gel. I created it because men would say, "I don't want makeup," But you know, if you're on TV, the shine and stuff, you have to take it off. So I created the product, and it's clear and no scents, no dyes, and I love it. It's called ShineOff Mattifier.
Shine off. All
Hmm
right. Well, I
Okay,
love the
Daniel
name.
Wakefield 1 week, you're getting headshots. Next week, we're going to try the shine off. I like this.
Yeah. Very interesting. That's definitely something that I've noticed before in a number of interviews and videos and all that content. All the lights and the heat and the glare sometimes. So that's a great solution and a great product name. It just tells you right what it does, right?
Thank you. Yeah. hmm So what I did was, being a freelance makeup artist, I was on set all the time, and I would buy products like crazy, and then you have to lug them everywhere. So I decided to take what I loved out of each product and put it down to where I can travel with it. It's universal. And when I did that, all my clients started to use my product, and that's how Shine Off started to sell.
That's really interesting. I'd love a kind of true entrepreneurial experimenter kind of story, right? As
hmm
opposed to like a bunch of chemists and product experts and, maybe even in some cases animal testing and going through all these various things. You just kind of experimented with things that worked, mixed and modified, and created a solution on your own without all the kind of harder science that sometimes it seems unnecessary, right?
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
That's your commercial right there.
Yeah.
We just cut that clip and just start running ads with it, right?
And I'm proud to say that the company is doing so well that I created waterproof products now. So I'm excited about that.
So where are these all sold?
Online,
Okay, so
ShineOffCosmetics.com.
so directly to the website, also on places like Amazon, for example.
I wrote a book that came out this spring that's available on Amazon, but the
Nice.
products are not, just online.
Less margins on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Those waterproof products, a lot of people don't know this, but those are actually going to be right up Jason's alley because Jason, although he never shares his content for some reason, he does a ton of swimsuit photo shoots at his pool and at South Florida beaches. And he doesn't like his face to be too shiny. He does put like a lot of that real shiny oil all over his body, but not the face. So those are going to be perfect.
That's why I had to grow a beard, right? It was just shining too much. I'm like, maybe this will help that out a little bit.
Those are great shoots, Jason.
They are. They are. How many products do you offer on your website these days?
208.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of SKUs.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just walk in baby steps. Someone wanted this, I tried that, and it's just, there it is.
Wow, that's a long product line. Really interesting.
Yeah.
So is it all cosmetics related? I didn't know there were that many cosmetics, I guess.
Well, the thing is, and what I find is that if a woman has a foundation that she likes, she'll keep it forever. You'll have a customer forever. So my line focuses on foundations for every skin type, every skin tone, every color. There's not a lot of people out there that offer cosmetics for people of ethnicity or Black people or brown people. So I try to cater to them as well.
Yeah, it's a smart move. That's something we were just talking about in my entrepreneurship class with the undergraduate students here. So many of them seem to be having such a difficult time focusing in on their target market. And they seem to think that it should be broad and big, like, oh, this product's going to be for women between 18 and 60 of all types. And it's like, no, that's not a market segment that you can address. Instead, entrepreneurs and students alike are oftentimes better off being hyper focused and say, my customer has exactly this skin type and color. And yeah, maybe it's not, 40 million people, but it's perfect for that one profile. Well, that profile can be easier to find, easier to market to because it is specific, right? You can
Right.
create messaging around that profile Whereas if you're trying to, create messaging for a woman who's 18 versus one who's 40, like shouldn't be the same messaging, right?
Right.
So having these really broad swaths of customers just seemingly never works. And
Yeah.
oftentimes you can really, really just hone in on a very specific customer segment. And like you said, if you satisfy that customer, the likelihood that they'll change is very low.
Mm-hmm.
Mish, can you explain the price point a little bit? I was just surfing the website, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where do you fall compared to places like Sephora, where they have such amazing marketing everywhere? And
Yeah.
every time I talk to a female, it's just like typically like that's on their go list of buying products, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and many other places at mall type brick and mortar stores. So where do you fall price wise?
I believe I fall perfectly in the middle. I'm right up there with everybody else. I don't believe in raising my prices for certain reasons, and I just want to be fair.
And is this business fully bootstrapped? Like you started from scratch, or did you get investors that then helped you get it going, or it was all you're working and then you took the money you earned and then
That's
started one product at a time?
that's exactly how it
Nice.
was. It was baby steps, one thing at a time.
And let's talk about your earlier days, I guess.
Oh,
Right. Like give us the journey, right? Most people didn't, overnight become an entrepreneur with over 200 products up on their website, right? And have to deal with all the SKUs and all the logistics and the shipping, right? It started where you were making a living somewhere, right? Typically hourly salary, and then eventually you turned into an entrepreneur, and then eventually you went all in being an entrepreneur. So kind of give us the backstory.
so it's I when I was 8 years old, my father gave me one of those Barbie heads. He used to paint portraits, and it pissed me off because I couldn't do it. So he said, "Why don't you try makeup as your medium?" That's when I knew I wanted to be a makeup artist. W when I graduated high school in 1988, I went to school for makeup and started doing makeup at night, but I needed practice, so I went to work at a strip club as a house mom, doing their hair and makeup and learning and getting paid at the same time. They didn't even know it, but I got really good at putting lashes on. Um,
And there's a lot of cash that flows through those places.
yeah, as
So
a matter of
you get
fact, I
good tips.
probably yeah, I walked out of there with more money than the girls half the time. It was great. So, I did that. Uh, from there, I oh God, where did I go? From there, I got married, and that was an abusive relationship. So that kind of knocked me back for a little bit. Um, I left there, and the cosmetic line came out of necessity. Um, because when I was younger, I went to work for Publix supermarket.
Okay.
My mom and dad were like, "You need a real job." So I did makeup and Publix. I worked for Publix for 23 years.
Which is good because you learn communication skills. You learn from big organizations like the importance of just protocol. Like everyone who works there in the early days, like this is stupid. Everything goes so slow, like a
Yeah,
dinosaur. Nothing changes. But then over time, you're like, wait, I understand why these things were put into place. And when
exactly.
you start your business, you look back at those early days, like, yeah, I was complaining, but actually they were right, right? Like you need that infrastructure to scale a business.
Customer service is everything.
Well, not to mention, you worked there for 23 years. If memory serves correctly, Publix has pretty good stock options, don't they? Did you,
Yes,
you max some of those out?
I bought 7 homes with all the stock that I bought.
That
It was
Yeah.
Kevin, look
eventually,
at you
yeah.
picking up on that. I haven't been here for 23 years. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't know about this stuff.
Publix is
Yeah.
privately held, but has a great employee stock options program. So
Yes.
Publix has done well too, and done well for their employees.
As a matter of fact, I had to take some stock out to start the company.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, it's there to be used, and
Mhm.
not always held forever. But yeah, it can be a great career, oftentimes overlooked. But as we see some of these retailers struggling and failing, it's not as likely in kind of the food-oriented sector. Like everybody still needs to eat groceries. Maybe
Mhm.
they don't go to the store and they hire somebody on their phone to go for them, but somebody's still going buying the groceries.
Right.
So it's one of those necessity things that you continue to see. tell us a little bit more about the business model currently. Do you sell direct to consumers via your website only? Do you
Yes.
also sell on like third party um, shops, Amazon, right? Places like that? Any retail?
No, not yet.
Nothing. Well, I
No.
think that's okay.
I'm getting there. That's my goal.
Well, yeah, I think
Not
retail
even-
is great. Amazon, it really depends. There's so much competition on there. For those listening, she says no. Yeah, a lot of times it's not the best option, especially if you're an established brand, to try to then reestablish yourself on that marketplace. Because one of the things, especially like inexperienced founders don't understand, is that when they're selling to customers on Amazon, sure, it's more revenue, but it won't be as much of a margin, most likely. And then it's not your customer, it's
Mhm.
Amazon's customer.
Mhm.
You don't get necessarily their address, their information, their email, all
Correct.
this stuff. So you can sell directly to them, promote to them. You can't really control them. They're Amazon's customer. Not to mention, everyone is Amazon's customer. So if Amazon decides that they don't really like you coming up on the first page of search results, they don't see you. And then they'll say, well, we could get you on there for the right price. We can get you anywhere. And all of a sudden it turns into kind of a whole mess of nonsense that you don't even want to manage. Yeah. And we see a lot of that.
Right now I'm just simple.
Yeah, sometimes that's best. And then they're your customers, right?
Yeah.
You have that relationship directly with them, no intermediaries that can control kind of communication and other things. There's a lot of benefits of being in that position as opposed to indirect.
That's where I feel comfortable
Yeah,
right now.
it's good.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break to hear from one of our sponsors. When we get back, we're going to jump into our What's Hot segment of the show.
Join the fastest growing community of professionals on the internet with OWL. Access new networks and otherwise unreachable professional contacts through the one-on-one call feature on the app. Scroll through the list of available professionals and join them for a quick call to build rich connections, expand invaluable relationships, and to broaden your professional landscape without needing lofty referrals. OWL. We bring vetted pros to your doorstep 24/7 on demand. Join our community by signing up at owl.com today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Shrimp Tank. As a reminder, we stream live now at Shrimp Tank Boca on all our socials. So if you want to catch the live video of these podcasts, just check it out on YouTube or wherever you catch all our social media, of course. So, Mish, on this segment of the show, it's called What's Hot. So we're going to jump into a topic and just dive deep why it's hot. So when it comes to marketing, what's the hottest way to market this brand right now for you? You've seen?
Social media.
So dive deeper, because social media everyone uses, but like which lane? Like, is it Instagram? Is it TikTok?
No, it's
And what specific? Are you running ads, for example?
Instagram, no ads. Yeah, that's the only avenue I have right now.
So just straight up post, or is it
just
more
straight
like
up
DMing people?
posts and
Both.
word of mouth.
Okay.
I wrote a book, and the book is generating sales for my line as well.
Nice.
Also, I want to tell you about my cosmetic line, that it's my products are cruelty-free, paraben-free, gluten-free, vegan, EU compliant, which means there's no harsh chemicals, and they're proudly made in the USA.
That's good, because a lot of times people today are really sensitive to the products they're purchasing. Right? We look at Whole Foods, we look at Trader Joe's, right? And you have a tribe of people that are loyal. Once they're on, those style products, they're going to stick to them, of course. So that's great.
All right, I got a question for you that neither one of us have any idea what the answer is, but I'm guessing you do. What is sort of the hottest trend in makeup? Obviously, different styles change and modify over time, either based on kind of your experience, popular media, or maybe you were even reviewing some of your sales and you saw something like that product doesn't sell that often, but all of a sudden it's selling a lot. So what are a trend or two that are really timely that you've noticed?
The trend that I've noticed is shine, a lot of shine on your face, a glowy, dewy look. I I'm a proponent of the opposite. I think that a matte finish on your face is like soft velvet, and it's beautiful, I think.
Yeah. Well, we don't always have to like all the trends,
No.
and sometimes they're just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There's a fair amount of that in men's clothing right now. Where I go to the store and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no, it doesn't look good.
Mhm. Grunge is into the grunge look.
Yeah, it's not really well suited for me.
Mm-mm.
Now, Jason, I don't know, maybe.
I have that matte look, right? Unless I go to the beach and I get a tan, then I start looking shiny. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. You
Always.
asked me. Let's talk about on the personal side. You mentioned 7 homes earlier in the show,
Yeah.
right? So often we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, they have 7 homes. Sometimes they're like, I want to go all in on my business because I could sell 3 of these homes, get a lot of cash, right? And just deploy it right into my business and start going crazy with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads these days. But a lot of people say, well, no, that's a cash cow, right?
Yeah.
I got tenants in there, right? They're paying the bills. All of a sudden there's no mortgages, and you all of a sudden have a lifestyle business.
Mm-hmm.
You sit back and relax, and it turns from $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month. And I've seen this often. My background is being a financial advisor behind the scenes behind Owl. And often it's like, wait, I could just have this lifestyle cosmetic business and let it slowly grow without running ads, just doing natural social media posts or sell some of the properties. So what has been hot about owning real estate in your mind?
I didn't think it was hot at all.
You don't like it.
No.
So do you still own
Well,
the 7 homes?
No. That was back in 2008, and
Oh,
I ended up losing my butt on.
Oh, you were part of that
everything.
group.
Yeah, so I'm not very
Oh,
happy.
no.
But
Yeah, that was a terrible time.
yes. So, yeah.
I thought you still owned them. So
No.
those 7
No,
are
that
gone?
was with my ex-husband.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
those 7 homes are
Gone.
gotcha. That makes a lot more sense.
Gone.
They're
But
just now again worth what they were in 2010
probably.
or whenever.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a rough time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well,
in the
that's good
real
to hear,
estate.
though. It's not hot, right? Because often people are like, real estate, real estate, real estate.
Yeah.
And we're kind of seeing that bubble again, right? And people say real estate never goes down, but it does. Like, look what happened in 2008 through 2010 down here. And a lot of people forget that. And it's only 14, 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good reminder, like, markets go up and down.
Yeah.
Be careful,
Yeah.
right? Be diversified.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's the answer. What's hot? Diversification. How exciting. The guys in the finance department will love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break here from one of our sponsors. When we get back, we're going to jump into our Plead the Fifth segment of the show.
Step into our state-of-the-art innovation lab and create your digital future. Oz uses cutting-edge technology and 22 years of industry knowledge to enhance customer experience through digital innovation in a variety of expertise. Oz is a leading global consulting company whose services and solutions are trusted by startup, midsize, and even Fortune 500 companies. Get to know more about Oz's Salus, a mobile solution bringing us back to max capacity, and their latest solution, Rainmaker, saving insurance companies years of work. To learn more about Oz and their exciting technologies, visit followoz.com. That's FOLLOWOZ.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Shrimp Tank. As a reminder, Mish will be the featured expert over on the Owl app next week. So if you want to talk one-on-one about anything we discussed during today's podcast, follow her on the Owl app and give her a ring, and she will provide you some good guidance for your business potentially. So, Mish, this segment of the show, it's called Plead the Fifth. I'm going to ask you a question. You don't want to answer it. You just say the words, I plead the fifth, but you can only plead the fifth one time. Okay. And if you plead the fifth twice, you have to, of course, give Kevin some of that makeup that we were talking about earlier on the house so it could be paired with his new headshots, of course. So next week's episode,
Oh, you're getting
he doesn't
headshot?
have that. He doesn't have that shine.
Mhm.
So, Mish, before we go into this segment, though, I was just surfing your website for a little bit. And I noticed, at the bottom it says as seen on TV.
Yes.
So can you just explain, like, how did you get on TV? Was it your PR brand that helped you get there? And just tell us a little bit about the type of people you've worked with in the past. Have you worked with celebrities? Have you worked with
Oh, yeah.
influencers?
So, being a makeup artist for 30 years, yes, I've found myself in places with people I never dreamed. This career has been fantastic. I've met A-listers. I've gotten to teach them how to put makeup on their own unique and individual features. Um, yeah, it's been great.
So how did you get involved with these folks? Is it just word of mouth? Did you hire a PR company and then they helped kind of bridge that line, for example?
Yes, I hired a PR team, and yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of times, PR firms go two separate directions. We hear from a lot of guests. Like there's the ones that they hire, they promise the world and get them nowhere, right? A bunch of social media posts that get no likes or comments. And there's the other ones that really have that ability to get you on the local news, get you on national news, get you in articles like Forbes magazine. And it's so important to pick the right PR firm, which we continuously have a lot that we partner with for that same reason, because they bring us awesome guests all the time.
Right.
So I guess now that you've mentioned some of that with some of the clientele you have, here comes the plead the fifth question.
Okay.
Who's been the most awkward celebrity you've ever worked with? Like you went in all excited and they were just so awkward. They could have been on drugs that day. They could have just generally been different than what you expected. But who was the most awkward celebrity you ever ran into? And what do they do?
Oh gosh.
Or plead the fifth.
I hate to name drop. Well, I know that Dwayne Wade does not like his toes to touch each other, so he wears socks that are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kevin loves those. I've seen Kevin wear those shoes.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you do Dwayne Wade's makeup
I
at one
did.
point? Oh,
I
that's cool.
did when he came out with his sneaker. He was
Nice.
doing a promo.
Nice. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone loves him. He's
Yes.
liked by practically everyone.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's cool.
Okay, well, I'm gonna dig a little deeper since you didn't plead the fifth. Was there a celebrity that you worked with that seemed like they had, and this would be surprising to me, but I could see it happening, that seemed like they had no idea at all how to do their own makeup? And who was that?
There's a list.
Really?
Yes,
Women and men, or mostly men?
well, mostly men, but really a lot of women too, and that's why I wrote my book, A Makeup Artist in Your Pocket.
Ah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's surprising.
Yeah, so I take people who are intimidated with makeup and I walk them through it gently on how to do their own face, their own unique individual features, because you can sit there and watch TikTok or YouTube all day long. Someone's sitting there putting makeup on themselves for you to see, to do, but it's not your face.
Yeah, and I've seen some of those over other people's shoulders. I'm not watching these things on social media, but sometimes there's so much heavy editing and like time lapse, and they're like, boom. And then it's like perfect, just done. It's like, how many times did that take, and how long did that take to make that 12-second video that looks like magic?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot you can do with a camera that you can't necessarily execute in real life. So that makes perfect sense to kind of read, learn, rather than being like, well, that looked easy. It's like, yeah, I bet it did. It looked like magic because it was.
Okay. Tell us a customer story, that was just like, it was just too much, right? You run a company where you send them products. People are entitled today and love returning items, right? And they return until you as the owner say, enough is enough. You're taking advantage of me, right? They're opening the products, they're trying them probably, and they're like, I didn't like it. But you're like, yeah, you didn't like it after you used half the bottle, right? So, I run a business and I see the most ridiculous emails come over all the time. And it's just like, there's so much entitlement today where the customer's always right, type of mentality, because they put $1 into a brand, or sometimes they didn't even put any money in, right? They just like have expectations, like send me some samples. And you're like, that's not how this works. You have to buy it and then you get it. Right. So tell us a customer story where it was just out of control, like ridiculous.
Well, it didn't have to do with the products.
Okay.
And I don't want to say her name, but I walked into her home and she told me to stop right there. And I stopped and she said, now sit over here. And she was just so demanding the whole time. The whole time she made me crazy.
Wow, that's some content for after the show.
Shrimp Tank After Hours.
Yeah. Oh, I just had a question. Yeah, so I've got one more and that's it, really. It sounds like you've made a lot of products at your customers' request.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. What is the most insane, crazy, odd product request somebody's ever made for you where you're like, no, I think maybe you'd be the only customer for that? Have you had any of those?
No.
Oh, that is too bad. We've had some really interesting ones on the show from people who do more cosmetic
Yeah.
like interventions, surgery.
Oh.
There have been some odd requests
Yeah.
for listeners. Go back and find those. But
Yeah,
no
no.
products.
Mm-mm. Thankfully.
Okay, here's my last plead the fifth one. And this one will end the show probably with plead the fifth. Earlier you talked about working at a strip club, I believe.
Yes.
A little bit.
Mhm.
Tell us the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen, or plead the fifth.
Oh my God.
Remember, you're at a university right now.
I know. Well,
Are you going to plead the fifth or tell a story? What happened?
how graphic can I get?
Hey, anything goes on the Shrimp Tank. Right? Anything goes.
You know what? I think I'm going to plead the fifth on
There
this
you
one.
go. We'll do that after hours, on the rated R Shrimp Tank version of the show one day that we release. We're going to take clips from every guest who tell us all the answers to the plead the fifth question one day and then put a reel out. We'll throw that up on TikTok, of course. Well, Mish, the last thing I have to ask, I guess, because, I know there's more to this story, right? Looking up online, looking at your bio, you're trying to impact millions of females out there that have gone through hard situations. So can you talk to why this brand was started in the first place? What you went through on a personal level?
For sure. This brand was born out of necessity and an FU to my ex-husband. It's become a therapy for me because I was verbally and physically abused for 9 years. And when I do makeup, I get lost in it. And that's how it's helped me. And when I teach, my passion is to teach.
Yeah.
And when I do teach, I make other people feel better. That makes me feel better.
That's a great story. And how do you want to help the next generation of females that have been through your situation? Kind of share, how you want to help them, one at a time, then in groups, I guess, because you have this big mission, of course. And I could tell it's coming right from the heart.
So what I like to do is teach people how to put their makeup on themselves so they feel as good on the outside as they do on the inside, kind of match it.
Absolutely. Well, Mish, I'm excited for your journey in the future.
Thank you.
Because I see all the products on your website and I could see you've put your heart into all of them. And of course, as you continuously scale, it's going to make impact to millions and millions of females out there, especially with the book that you've written. A lot of people don't go out of the way to write a book about it and post all the time on social media. So Mish, thank you for joining us here on the Shrimp Tank. For our audience listening, if they want to buy your products, what's the website?
ShineOffCosmetics.com.
Awesome. Well, Mish, thanks again for joining us here. Everyone listening, back next week, right around 1 o'clock. Take care, everybody.
Like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it take a swim